Hi guys, welcome back to another video from the medical method. I'm glad to be back again. I'm still sitting in my rural house, just kicking it on GP, and I'm having a good time. So today I'm going to answer a question that I often get, and I've made a video on before, but I think another year and a bit of experience has probably changed my opinion a little bit. So this is the updated version of how to get into medicine without a scientific background. And this is a general video for both the undergraduate, year 10, 11, 12, pre-meds, and also postgraduates getting into medicine as well. So the question basically boiled down to, I've never done chemistry and physics. How do I get into medicine? How should I approach it? Is it too hard? Is the workload too much? So let's talk about chemistry, physics, bio, all that stuff. It isn't a necessary requirement for you to be an expert in chemistry or physics. It's definitely sufficient to have a relatively baseline understanding of the concepts and an exposure to the field. But I think that especially as you get towards the end of medicine, your kind of minutiae and principles get lost a little bit, and having a strong foundation in chemistry in particular is useful for your understanding of blood tests and biochemistry and all that kind of stuff. For example, if someone's in respiratory distress, they're having trouble breathing, you might take a sample from their artery and it'll come out with a pH reading. Now you need to understand that what a pH means, how the pH is affected by different things. And if you don't understand what pH is, then you'll have a really superficial understanding, and superficial understandings might get you good marks whilst you're in medicine, but I feel that over time it'll really fade away and your understanding and your abilities as a doctor will be somewhat diminished. So I think in approaching this question, you want to think about not only right now, but also if you do and when you do get into medicine, the effects on your practice and your abilities. So chemistry exposure is vital. Physics, I feel like physics, high level physics is, beyond comprehension and quite difficult, but I think the principles of basic physics for anyone who's bright enough to be pursuing medicine probably come relatively naturally, but definitely doing a bit of extra study can help your just general understanding of things like pressure and resistance. But understanding like momentum and, two cars hitting each other and whiplash reactions and, high force over small amounts of time versus the same amount of force over a longer amount of time in a car accident, like all those kind of concepts that are expected in the pre-medical levels are somewhat more amenable to just common sense and exposure to science in general. But chemistry is quite abstract. So if you have nothing at all, start at the basics. I think that's a fatal flaw that so many people do, is that they grab the university textbook and they start learning, and they haven't even done what a carbon atom is, how the periodic table works, the Bohr model of electrons, simple things that people learn early on in their, a year 10 concept. That's not to undermine the person who's studying its level, it's just that they haven't been exposed. Just like if I was to pick up Swahili tomorrow, my level would be the same as a 3-year-old, but that's just part of the learning process. You put the bricks on the bottom layer and you build up. If you try and build up at that top level without understanding the basics, then the wall falls down. And that often is noticed, particularly in the GAMSAT, because the level of chemistry is really underpinning your reasoning, your understanding of everything. Why do bonds not go closer than 90 degrees if there's 4 on a carbon in a planar field? All those kind of like weird concepts, you need to kind of understand them, not have that kind of surface, oh yeah, I read the textbook, I did a few questions, because the questions in the GAMSAT won't be the ones in the textbook. And I think that through Fraser's GAMSAT tuition, as one of sort of the co-founders and main tutors, we're really moving away from that, massive book, learn all of this concepts. It's not an efficient way to learn. It's better to have a modular understanding of different concepts, and then use that reasoning, that sort of like, like you've got a certain amount of chips and you kind of understand your reasoning, and you just pick the best option based on your understanding, rather than, oh yes, this is from page 56 of XYZ textbook. So I would spend time learning the basics of chemistry. Look at Khan Academy, look up structural chemistry, inorganic, organic, physical chemistry. those are the general concepts, and I would start at the most basic. If you watch a video, you don't understand it, then go to another video on that same channel and just work your way through the videos and knock them all off as you go. Otherwise, medicine itself, I know personally in my degree, there are a couple of people who had an arts background and they did the chemistry and physics units as an extra sort of add-on. And yes, they're very highly motivated, highly intelligent students, but I don't think it's a requirement for you to have done the sciences. It's just that it makes it a little bit more difficult to learn it in retrospect. So if you're in that early stage, you're in high school, I'd definitely put in the effort, do chemistry, even if you don't like it, put it in. Physics is a bit more optional, but it adds to that reasoning level. And I think maths is vital. Maths is so important. I'm jaded because I did my major in maths, but there's so many layerings of understanding just everything in life, like how a bell curve works, why is a bell curve distributed like that? These kind of implicit understandings that you'll gain from doing maths for a long time is kind of irreplaceable when you get to a university level. It's almost a bit too late. And it's something that in my GAMSAT tuition with Fraser's, we're implementing more mathematics programs because we find that that's really high yield. And yeah, understanding things like indices, logs, all that kind of stuff will really go a long way, both actually in medicine itself, understanding that, pH has only moved 0.5. Well, that's actually 10 to the power of 0.5. So that's actually quite a decent magnitude. There are these things that people don't understand many years later down the track. So I would implore you to get that scientific background if medicine is something you want to do. But if you haven't got it, start at the basics, work up. The workload is not too bad, but you definitely have to keep doing work throughout. As you can see from my video frequency, there are times when I don't have time at all. I always try to respond to comments, but I think overall it's important that if it's what you want to do, the workload won't matter and you'll enjoy yourself. And for a lot of people who get into medicine, it's not vital to be the ducks of the year. You're still going to be a doctor at the end of it, and you'll be rated more on your work than on your grades. So thank you for watching this video. If you guys are preparing for interviews at the moment, check out some of the videos from Fraser's interview training that I recently released. We offer online training, in-person training in most of the major cities in Australia. And our content is very similar to this, but higher quality, more scripted. We have mock stations, everything that you could possibly need to give yourself the best chance to get into medicine. So check out the links below, check out our website. I've also written some blog posts about some information that you might be interested in. And I hope that your interviews go well. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and like this video for more action. Bye.